first guitar, let's break down Keith Richards' part. This is when he started messing with open G. So he was messing with some open tunings before, like on Let It Bleed. But this is where he started messing with open G, and I think he kind of made it sort of his mainstay. So I don't think that it's a Tele. I think it might be humbuckers, or could have been that Dan Armstrong guitar. Could have been his Gibson 330. This is a close approximation. So basically what I'm doing here is I just have just the guitar kind of at 8 and the amp just breaking up. The tuning here is starting with the low E string, it's down to D, and then the 5th string is down to G, 4th string is D still, 3rd string is G, 2nd string is B, and the 1st string is D. So big open G chord. Okay, so he's got a couple shapes that he uses, and that are the Keith shapes. So we start here up on the 12th fret, and he's just barring from the 5th string down. I think he took the 6th string off. He certainly does now. So just avoid the 6th string altogether. But you're barring from the 12th fret from the 5th string down. Okay, and then the shape he's going to use here is, it feels like a minor 7th shape. So from here it's 12, 14, 12, 13, 12 from the 5th string down. Okay, so the way he starts is this. He's got, and then he comes down to the 5th fret, same thing. Alright, so this is the rhythm. So that's the whole intro as far as Keith's playing it. And there's a little bit of delay on it, and he's panning it. So I'll take a picture and put a picture of the pedal I'm using and the delay and how I'm using it. Basically, I just have one signal going to one side, and then the delay, the slapback, going to another. So there's a variation of this shape that Keith uses, and if it starts right away when he goes to that next part. Okay, so the one, it comes up to the 8th fret. You're bowing on the 8th fret, which is an E flat. Okay, and this is the shape. It's really similar to the last one. There's a little bit of a variation. So up when we were up here, this was a G to a C over G. So it's kind of a 1-4 Motown thing. Okay, or just a blues thing. Okay, so this one's a little different. So we've got the 8th fret, so you're bowing 5th string down again. So we have 8, 8, 10 on the G, 9 on the B, and then 8 on the 1st string, the D string. Okay, so this ends up being like an E flat suspended, and then you're throwing that 9th in there. So it's like a sus4 add 9. So this has more of a minor flavor. It's definitely a little dissonant, as opposed to. Okay, so what he does here is he goes, and then he goes down to the 5th fret to the C chord, and then he goes back to that original Keith shape. Okay, and then he goes down to the A flat chord, 1st fret, and he goes to that suspended add 9th. So that's 1, 1, 3, 2. That's that suspended add 9th again. 3, 3, 5, 4, and then back to the Keith shape. Okay, so there's there's the main one he does, the start me up thing, and then he has that variation. Alright, so this is how he uses it. So we've got first one, and the variation here, the sus4 add 9. And back to the original. So this is the rhythm of that. Okay, so for the verses, He's going from the C chord up on the 5th fret up to the F chord, up on the 10th fret, back to the C chord on the 5th fret, down to a B flat on the 3rd fret, back up to the C on the 5th fret. So in the first verse, he's not doing that. He's just more chugging on that rhythm. So you can do variations of that. You can have, but Keith kind of like listens and finds his spot, sort of in between beats. He's very percussive that way. There's a lot of syncopation going on. If you ever watch him live now, he kind of is like laying back, listening, finding a little spot where he can dive in, and he lets Ronnie Wood, or in this case Mick Taylor, kind of fill in the spots, and his piano players, and also in this case less is definitely more. Okay, so then we have the chorus. Right. So coming out of let's see. Just around okay, so that's big open G. So open G, I'm really just hitting the D and the G strings, the 4th and 3rd, and then pulling off. And then the 5th fret, so 3rd fret, open, 5th fret, back to 3rd fret, open. And then we've got up to the C chord. Then there's that sax solo section. So this is a variation on the beginning, and he seems to be really consistent with how he's doing it. So this is E flat, and he's using that suspended with the add ninth in there. So, but this time, instead of going to the C and doing like the F over C, he's doing that sus add 9 again. So we've got, and then we've got 5, 5, 7, 6. And then we keep that shape down here. We go to the A flat. We have 1, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 5, 4. And then when he comes up to the C again, he goes back to his original shape. So that sounds like this. Does that 4 times. From there we go back to the chorus. So once again, back to that G. Now we have this tag at the end. So in this case, he's going up sort of like we did in the beginning. He's got that G on the 12th fret. And then we go down to the 5th fret to the C. He's always doing like tiny little variations, and dynamically he's hitting it harder, a little softer. He's got his little quick little strums he does. So he does that I think 4 times. Then at the very end, so it's the exact same idea you have up here, but he goes to the open strings. We have open G, and then we've got the open G note at the 5th fret. I'm sorry, 5th string. 2nd fret on the D, open G, 1st fret on the B. And that is all of the Keith parts. Acoustic part, from what I can tell, is in open G tuning. So again, it's D, G, D, G, B, and then D. And then they're using the same chords that Keith used during the verses. So the acoustic guitar doesn't seem to come in until basically the whole band starts rocking out. So we have, it skips through this part. So it's not in there, but it comes right in on the E flat, up on the 8th fret for us. So for the most part, it seems to be mirroring exactly what Keith is doing, just a little bit more consistent on the rhythms. It's like a driving rhythmic force. For the chorus, it sounds like he's going to just a big open G. So that's just all the open strings, and then basically going from the G string down, the 5th string down, G, 2nd fret on the D string, open G, 1st fret on the B string, and then the open D. So that's, like I said, open G, kind of doing that 1-4 thing, and then up to the 5th fret, to the C chord, and 1-4 again, same shape. So we have the C just barring across the 5th fret, and then 5th fret from the 5th string, 7th fret, 5th fret, 6th fret, 5th fret. For the bridge section, that's the sax solo. It seems to be doing the same thing Keith's doing. So we have that little variation. 8th fret with that sus4 in the add 9th. 5th fret, 1st fret, 3rd fret. And then for the end, for the tag, it's just the so it's pretty straightforward. My suggestion would be that it's just, you just keep it with that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 with the up and downs. Okay, good luck. All right, the last part, the Mick Taylor part, it sounds like he's playing a telly. I think he said he was playing a telly, so he would know. It sounds like the bridge pickup to me. So it's really a clean tone, even though he's technically the lead guitar player on this. The two of them together is a lesson in interplay between the tones. Keith having the thick rhythm sound, and then Mick having sort of a thinner sound, and then there's this amazing interplay going on, and the saxophone sort of doubles. Bobby Keys on sax doubles what Mick does a little bit, Mick Taylor. So the first part comes in right after the intro, and it's this. And he just does that a few times. So it's a hammer on from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret on the A string, and this is all in standard tuning for Mick. And then a hammer on from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret on the D string. And then he gets a pretty deep vibrato, and then he goes to a C chord, which is a little hard to hear, but it's in there. And then from there, he's the one that has that. What he's doing then is an E flat chord up on the 6th fret to that sus4, then down to a C sus4, then he goes to an A flat 4th fret. So that kind of feels like a 5th root 5 chord. So we've got 4, 6, 6, 6. Same thing up on the 6th fret on the B flat. Okay, so we've got that whole thing together. So then for the verses, he more or less is keeping it pretty consistent for the first few. So it's playing a C chord here, and it's kind of a Chuck Berry thing, which is littered all over this album. This Chuck Berry influence. So we'll get into that. But what he's doing is it's what the saxophone is doing. So that's. Over this. And then when he goes up to the F, he goes to an F7, so it's 8, 10, 8. And he's still doing that rhythm. So we've got. So then for the B flat, it just goes down to the 1st fret, back up to the C. For the chorus, he does this, it's a little bluegrass run. So he gets an open G5, so just a G chord, and 5th string's muted out. And then, so that's sliding from the 1st fret on the A string to the 2nd fret, then open D and G. And then on the D string, 3rd fret to the 5th fret. So this is like a bluegrass turn. So what he's doing here is, and then he kind of mirrors Keith's lick, but instead of, he goes. So 3rd fret on the G string, 5th fret on the D string. 5th fret on the G string, back to the 3rd fret. And then that's sort of the motif that goes on through the solo. That saxophone solo. Not a lot of variation there. For the last verse, he takes a book out of the Keith Richards lick. So just on the D, G, and B strings, he goes up, just taking that A shape off of the C chord. Then he goes up to 10th fret for the F chord, same thing. So there seems to be a little variation in it, a little inconsistently consistent. Okay, so then for the tag at the end, what he's doing, he keeps going with that. Then he kind of breaks off into it. So just a Chuck Berry riff. So then he comes up, it sounds like he's playing a G chord up here on the 10th fret. Down to a C chord. There's one part where it sounds like he's doing that Keith riff on the 5th. So he's got that, he hits that 7th. So what that sounds like together is then from there, the cool tag at the end that he pulls off. This is total Chuck Berry. So he has over the G chord while they're all, you know, he plays. So over the G, he's playing double stop. So we have 3rd fret on the G and B string, 5th fret on the G and B. I say that wrong. 3rd fret on the B and E strings, and then the 5th fret on the G and B strings, 5th fret or 3rd fret on the G and B string, and then he'll do a variation where he's bending. So there's a couple ways you can do it. Then he goes up to the 8th fret over the C chord. And then for the very end of it, he's coming out of the G. So we have it's a Chuck Berry thing, John Lennon thing. So we have 8th fret, double stop on the B and E string, 10th fret on the G and B. So you're just bending up the G and B strings on 10th fret. And you bend both of them sort of up a half step, and that gives you sort of this like C7 kind of ending. And that is the whole song. So I hope that helps. I hope you found something weird and interesting in it, and hope you use it in your own music. All right. Until next time when we do Sway. See you guys.